A popular sports card breaker has gone into default, owing $1 million in sealed wax to a major card distributor. Is this a sign of trouble for the breaking business and the sports card hobby? We'll debate next. Hello, sports card investors, and welcome to another episode of Cards on the Table. Teapot, Doug, you may wonder why there's a giant pile of very high-end sealed wax sitting in front of you. We got boxes of national treasures, stacks upon stacks.
Christmas bonus?
Topps Gilded Collection. It is not Christmas bonuses. And it is also not here for Platinum Card Breaks to take and not pay me for. Because apparently that is what's happening. We're about to talk about that. But no, what this is actually here for is we're actually giving all this away next week on the virtual. Wow. Tuesday and Wednesday night here on this Sports Card Investor YouTube channel, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Tuesday night and Wednesday night next week. We are giving away an incredible assortment of boxes just in time for the holidays. So join us Tuesday and Wednesday night of next week for the virtual. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. What we're here to talk about today is this story. So this comes from Paul Lesko and 35 Auburn on Twitter. Blowout Cards, one of the biggest distributors of cards. A lot of people order, boxes from Blowout Cards. They've had a relationship with Platinum Card Breaks for some time. Platinum Card Breaks was a big customer of theirs over many years, ordered a bunch of boxes, which Platinum Card Breaks would then break on their breaks channel on YouTube. But trouble started to brew late last year. Platinum Card Breaks had credit terms with Blowout Cards, and they would, order hundreds of thousands of dollars of boxes a month. And something changed. And between October of 2023 and February of 2024, Blowout shipping all these boxes to Platinum Card Breaks as they normally do. And Platinum Card Breaks is not paying Blowout for any of the boxes, which is not how things used to be. But all of a sudden they stopped paying. This is all alleged in Blowout Cards' lawsuit against Platinum Card Breaks that all of this occurred. And Platinum Card Breaks did not respond to the lawsuit by the initial response deadline. So Blowout Cards may end up just getting a default judgment on this whole thing to collect all of this money. It is $945,000 that Blowout Cards says that Platinum Card Breaks owes them. Plus, they're trying to charge them interest on top of that as well. So we're going to get upwards here of $1 million on this entire thing. Now, if Platinum Card Breaks is a familiar name, perhaps to some people listening out there, it may be because they've been in the news cycle at times before for not such favorable things. There's been allegations about the owner threatening an employee that was apparently caught on camera. There were allegations of them cutting up a one-of-one card because they got mad at the chat. Allegations of swiping a redemption card from a break. So, things have come up from time to time about Platinum Card Breaks, but this certainly the most significant from a financial standpoint. Now, of course, we'll see what happens if it actually goes to court. We don't know if that's going to happen or not, but that is where things currently stand. My question to you guys, not only what do you make of this, but could this spell trouble at all for the breaking industry? What are your thoughts, Teapot?
So I don't even know if you know this, but my background is in credit and collections. 5 years I worked in credit and collections for a large food service distribution company.
So don't skip a paycheck to you.
I know something about this. I'm having flashbacks to the debates I used to have internally with our sales team about the need to collect money once you extend a line of credit to somebody and not just let somebody run amok and run wild and just keep drawing. I'd really like to know more of the details of this just because of my background, to know how far out of terms were they, what was their payment history like in general. Money has a carrying cost on top of that a lot of people don't understand when you're talking about millions of dollars, like David Adams is, or Blowout or whoever this was working on that. But my message on this would be, by their fruits, you shall know them. Simple. This guy had a track record of being caught. He cut the Rudy Gobert Prism Nebula card in half out of rage because he got mad at one of his customers or somebody in the comments. You don't cut cards in half. You don't cut a one of one in half. You don't cut a nebula in half. It's ridiculous. It's like sacrilegious in the hobby to do something like that. And that turned a lot of people off. And then it was next he's threatening to cut employees, and he's getting accused of stealing redemptions out of breaks and things. I think at the end of the day, if you don't want to end up chasing people for big money, you have to keep an eye on them and understand their organization, understand their business culture, and get to know their leadership and follow your gut. Use your head and your gut to make a good decision, even if financially it might seem like a bad decision. I understand if they're buying millions of dollars of product every year, it can be really hard to walk away from that. But if not, you find yourself in a situation where now you're going to have to pay all these legal fees and take somebody to court. And I don't know what this means for their breaking company in general, but I mean, in a situation where if they were to have to file bankruptcy and they're an LLC, you're not even going to get your money. You're just going to waste a bunch of money on legal fees and be out that. So it is important to go after. That's a good business lesson. Just understand people's business models, do your financial analysis, and keep them within the payment terms that you agree to respectfully. So hopefully you don't find yourself in a situation like this. Because I have a hard time believing this was net 30 terms that they just got squirrely on it. It's probably something that's a lot more drawn out.
Yeah, and Platinum Card Breaks, by the way, is continuing to break to this day. I actually looked at their YouTube channel just to see, and they were running breaks yesterday. So, I mean, they're still out there doing this. What do you make of the situation, Doug?
I would like to think this isn't going to have any sort of widespread impact on breaking. You've got just one individual who, and you can see these things. A lot of these things that are alleged, they're on video, right? You can see him grab an employee by the hair, pull his head back, and put a box cutter next to him. Now, they say the context is what matters, and they were joking. Okay, I'll take your word for it, I guess. I've watched him cut up a card. I've watched him rip a booklet in half because he didn't like the player's personal life outside of football. I've watched this guy go on these profanity-laced tirades. I really hate sharing hobby space with someone like that. I think it casts a shadow on the entire hobby. It casts a dark shadow on breaking in specific, because we're never going to hear stories about all the really good and honest breakers that exist, and there are a lot of them. We're going to hear about this kind of stuff. And there's probably a ton of people that will shy away from breaking entirely because they've only heard the horror stories. So I'm sure this has had an impact on people in the past, this accumulation of bad information or bad press in terms of breaking. But I'd like to think that we can see past an individual who's terrible and, look at the hobby as a whole and make better decisions.
This is why I've been encouraged by, like, when I do see Whatnot kick somebody off, when they really do something wrong, or at least suspend them. And I know they've been having a lot of conversations internally about how to strike the right balance, to make sure they have good policies. That stuff's really important. I think Doug brings up really good points. Like, you don't want these people giving a bad image to the hobby.
Yeah. What's surprising to me about this is happening during a time when the hobby seems to be really booming right now. Like, I can tell you, we just had our record sales here at Cards HQ a few days ago, like our busiest sales day ever over the Black Friday weekend. Our breaking here at Cards HQ, November was our biggest month that we've ever done in the history of the store. So it's not like the business is slowing down right now. And I talked to Blowout Cards. They are doing great business as well. They're seeing tons of sales. So it's business hobby-wide is hot right now. If business was slowing down, then I would say, oh, this is a case of this breaker took on more product than maybe they could chew. They, got a bunch of product. They had trouble selling out their breaks. Their breaks started selling for underneath what they paid for the product, and they got financially upside down, and then they didn't know what to do, right? I would believe that scenario if we were seeing a quickly declining sports card hobby. We're not. It's the opposite right now. So
it's totally possible that someone with this reputation might have declining business.
Well, maybe that's it. Maybe Platinum is not the same company that they were 5 years ago because of some of the other hits to their reputation. And I don't know, but what I do know is the story, it's sad to me, obviously. You don't want to hear this. We don't want to lead shows with stories about this type of thing occurring. I feel bad for Blowout Cards, if they're able to prove their case still. And maybe Platinum's got some side to the story on this whole thing as well. And we don't know if we're going to hear from them or not. But we'll see where it goes. But I hope people are made right here, and I hope this is just a weird one-off circumstance involving, this scenario rather than anything that we hear about again. Okay, we got to get into some other big topics today. We got to talk about Shohei Ohtani's own sports cards. we got to talk about some new parallels, which I know Teapot doesn't like. We're about to have a debate. But first, I want to let everybody know about what's happening with Arena Club, because there's some new big things happening at Arena Club. So you guys know they do their slab pack drops every Friday, and tomorrow's are not going to disappoint. 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific tomorrow. They've got more big cards dropping. I'm particularly excited about their football Ruby slab pack tomorrow, because that can contain a 2016 National Treasures Tom Brady jersey auto number /10. That is a card. It is definitely a grail. And so when they say chase the grails on Arena Club, they aren't kidding around with a card like that. Their baseball Ruby slab packs can contain a Shohei Ohtani 2018 Finest Auto PSA 10, and for basketball, an Anthony Edwards 2020 Spectra Color Blast. But another thing they're doing right now at Arena Club is they've got a contest going that for every dollar you spend on slab packs, during the month of December, this started back on November 29th, during the month of December, you get an entry into a contest to win 2 tickets to the big game in New Orleans in February, along with flights and hotel rooms. It's a pretty great thing. Download Arena Club's app and then use promo code SCI20 for $20 off, 20% off, I should say 20% off your first purchase at Arena Club. Again, promo code SCI20 in the Arena Club app for 20% off your first purchase. Okay, let's jump into this next story. I mentioned Ohtani's cards. Ohtani wants his cards back. You guys probably remember out there that Ohtani had his interpreter steal money from him, $17 million. This story broke back in June of this year. That interpreter pleaded guilty in August to fraud for doing this. Well, amongst the money that he stole was $325,000 worth of sports cards. Apparently about 1,000 cards. So we're looking at maybe an average price of about $325 per card. Well, Shohei Ohtani's legal team just recently filed a motion saying Ohtani wants all the cards back. They were seized by the government during this whole fraud investigation. Ohtani now wants the cards to be released to him, and apparently that's probably going to happen. He's going to hopefully get his cards soon. So my question to you guys, what cards do you think these are? These were all bought on Whatnot and eBay. What cards do you think Ohtani is soon going to have in his possession? Teapot.
I don't know what cards. Any Ohtani is a good Ohtani. That's all I know. They're pretty safe to say.
Do you think they're Ohtani cards?
Well, I guess we don't know that. Maybe not.
Wouldn't that be funny if he was buying like a rival?
They're all Mike Trout cards or something. I don't know.
Maybe Acuna cards.
I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's good that he wants them back. I'd want them back too. It'd be really cool if he did some kind of a video with Topps, getting them back, or if they're not graded, go to PSA and do some kind of a feature with them. Maybe that's pie in the sky, I don't know. Maybe he just wants to get them back to wipe the signatures off and re-sign them himself to enjoy them for his collection and then send them to Golden.
Yep.
Who knows? But re-sign them all in kanji. Who knows? Maybe he'll sign other players' cards in kanji too, and they'll become grail pieces on the market. I don't know. That's cool. I mean, I thought that saga was kind of over. And obviously, I think as the year played out and more of that stuff, and he pleads guilty and all that, we kind of find out, okay, I really do think Ohtani was like in the dark about this. I don't know. If Doug, you have any guesses?
Doug, do you think Topps should do a repack product of Ohtani's stolen cards?
MVP
a buyback, repack.
Yes.
That could be the next big
kanji
thing
auto.
for Topps.
Oh, 100%. I would love to see this checklist. I think those cards would do really well also if they ever came to auction and it was disclosed that they were from this. But this does include Ohtani cards. If you read all of the legalese, it does say that there are autograph cards depicting Ohtani as part of the collection. So he does have his own cards within this collection. And he's no stranger to gambling, and I'm glad he's decided to gamble on himself. I think that's a pretty good move. The whole collection would be fascinating. I would love to find out that he has like 10 Ohtanis, and then the other 990 are like Bol and Zion Prison Base. Like he got sucked into the same trap a lot of people did in 2019 or something. Yeah. That's what I would really love to see.
It was worth $325 3 years ago, and now it's worth like $10,000.
Yeah, that'd be my favorite thing ever, to find out that he just had a bunch of absolute terrible picks.
I will say, Shohei, if you need your cards tracked, Market Movers, we will put them in for you, all 1,000.
Throwing in a free Market Movers on the expense of Shohei
Just
Ohtani's stolen card. Gotta love it. All right, we got to debate Bowman Draft Parallels and talk about Fanatics Fest. But first, this wax, all of this wax I mentioned, the virtual, we're giving it away Tuesday, Wednesday, next week here on the Sports Card Investor YouTube channel, 8 to 11 p.m. Eastern Time. It is our big holiday show. We do it once a year. This is our 4th year doing it. You don't want to miss it. It's a new format this year, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And it starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Tuesday and Wednesday night. Mark your calendars. Bookmark the shows. They're already on YouTube, so you can bookmark them. And we will see you Tuesday and Wednesday night with your chance to win all of this. All right, guys. Let's talk about the new Bowman Draft Parallels and why Teapot hates these things. I think this is great. So here's what happened. I think they're great. So Bowman Draft came out yesterday. It has been flying off the shelves here in Cards HQ. Very popular product. We've been breaking it on Cards HQ breaks on whatnot. And in 1 out of every 50 boxes of the jumbo boxes of Bowman Draft, Topps included a special variety pack. This is like a special hit pack. And in those variety packs, you get 4 special cards that each have a unique parallel. A bubblegum parallel, a sunflower seeds parallel, a peanuts parallel, and a popcorn parallel.
Why no chewing tobacco parallel?
That's what I'm asking.
We'll talk about that.
We'll get that.
Pine tar parallel.
Steroids.
So these are all very short printed because they're only available in jumbo boxes, only 1 out of every 50 packs. There's also autograph versions of these parallels that are going to be numbered to 5. So these will be big chases. I think it's a lot of fun. I like the parallels. I think it's great. Tell me that don't even tell me I'm wrong. Just agree with me. These are fantastic parallels. What do you think, Teapot?
I will not agree with you. I will not agree. Do you know what's wrong with these, Jeff? Everything. Everything is wrong with these. They're not cool. This is Bowman. This is the sacred product. Bowman Draft, the product of Topps. It's the thing that sets them apart from every other sport and every other thing. It's the Bowman First. It's the Bowman First prospect card in a world where we now have 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 different rookie cards, including 1,000 different rookie autos and 400 different rookie one-of-ones. You have the Bowman First, and you have lineage, and people treat these things, especially the Bowman Chrome autos, as the iconic cards, and they have polluted and adulterated the lineage of this product with a freaking bubblegum parallel numbered to 5. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I didn't like the witch parallels and the Halloween parallels and the Easter parallels with the watering can and all this stuff. But I didn't really care because it came from Topps flagship paper product in blasters only, so I could easily avoid it and just dodge those parallels and keep them out of my life. I didn't mind the summer-themed ones as much. It was a little silly having a hot dog parallel. Wouldn't pay the big money for it. Wouldn't do that. I think you could do it thematically, tastefully. This is literally just like a blurry image of sunflower seeds in a border. And how much money are these cards going to actually go for? Why would I pay for that? Why would I ever, in a world where dynasty cards are massively undervalued, where I could get other parallel, how much is this going to go for? I can't wait to see it and then to make a data dive or something ridiculing it. I don't get it. And now we got the CT scanning drama. Now you're doing an extra pack inside of boxes, which makes just weighing the boxes that much easier. So now there's going to be all the accusations that this breaker, that if we hit one, people are going to say, you guys weighed the boxes and gave them, I don't like anything about it. These are autographed cards. I would never pay a massive price tag for a bubblegum sunflower seed, any parallel like that. There's a million cards in the world. I don't get it.
Fun with this guy.
You can have fun. Not in Bowman. I don't want a lunar glow parallel. I don't want a green grass parallel. I don't want a taco fractor. I don't want those things.
Get off my lawn.
I know. You're like the 9th person who said that to me this week. But
seriously,
I
get
like
off my
lava.
lawn.
I like
Is there
sparkle.
anything more baseball than bubblegum, sunflower seeds, peanuts, popcorn, Cracker Jacks? They would have put a Cracker Jack parallel in here, but I'm sure they didn't get the branding. They didn't get the license. So they can't do Cracker Jack. But they can do bubblegum and sunflower seeds and peanuts and popcorn. This is just all... This is all baseball. This is baseball.
It's a Bowman
Of course
First.
they should do this. They should do this over a green lava parallel.
I can't wait to see your budding,
green lava's
your
not
budding
big. This is
popcorn
baseball.
parallel PC.
I like it.
Let's
this.
see it.
And why are you poo-pooing on them putting an extra pack in 1 out of 50 boxes of Bowman Draft? I actually think that's a great
I like
thing.
chases. I'm worried
I think
about
it's
the
cool.
weighing. I'm worried about the
Everyone's going to be
accusations.
excited when they open it up and get the extra pack. Doug, tell Teapot he's wrong.
Well, I was prepared to, but he kind of won me over a little bit with the whole, Bowman's sacred institution thing. Now I'm kind of leaning that direction.
That's why I hate it, because it's this product. Like, you're ruining. It's like when Panini totally bastardized Select and ruined it. Yeah. They're ruining it. Don't do that.
I was prepared to say that this really isn't that big of a deal to me because it's in a special pack and it's only one out of every 50 jumbo boxes. It's not spread across every format of that product. But I was going to say the thing that bothered me the most is something you even touched on. For something that's a case hit or even way more rare than a case hit, it's kind of a lazy sort of thing, right? It's just a blurred image of sunflower seeds. I'm used to like the standard of a case hit being like a really great looking insert.
Of course.
Like a color blaster.
Yes.
You know, something totally unique. This is just take the base card, put some sunflower seeds behind it and call it this super rare, case thing. But I will say, in the preview images that Top sent, it was your guy Cags on there. You're going to be chasing that a little bit?
Maybe a little bit. Maybe they should do a Florida Gator parallel. Put little alligator emojis all around the edge. I would buy that.
Why not? That'd be better, in my opinion, than this.
Well,
I
for
don't
me
know
it would
what
be.
this
Can
you imagine?
I would like that.
I would cut it up on camera.
Yeah.
That's what I'd do.
Can you imagine this being in a product like Exquisite or Flawless? Having a peanut Exquisite card parallel in Exquisite, everything else about Exquisite, and then you get a peanut and a green grass parallel, and they wouldn't do. You don't do that. My attitude normally toward this is, I don't like it, but I don't care. A lot of people overreact to a lot of things they don't like as though they shouldn't do it. I don't care in general. Even I know I said Taco Fractor. When I did that video, I said, I don't care about this. It just doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't bother me. This is Bowman. It's bizarre. If I'm a breaker, I'm supposed to get really excited when somebody hits a hot dog parallel or whatever, peanut parallel, whatever.
What Exquisite would do instead would be find 80 different variations of a Michael Jordan patch card and put them all in this set.
Never enough.
So every box you open up is some variation of a patch card.
Sounds like Mercury.
It does sound like Mercury. Mercury is actually the better comparison against Exquisite, I think.
And they wouldn't have put this in Mercury either.
I know people are going to be mad now that I said that about
There's
Exquisite.
UFOs
That's
popping
like-
up all over the world right now. Maybe we'll get game-used UFO patches in Mercury next time.
Okay.
Anyway.
We're going to move on.
Okay.
We're going to move on. Let's talk about Fanatics Fest. So Fanatics Fest New York City is officially back. Fanatics just announced this a couple of days ago. We were kind of wondering a little bit what was going to happen because there was supposed to be Fanatics Collect Orlando, that local card show that got, the regional card show that got postponed back in November because of the hurricanes, and then it got permanently canceled. They officially announced a few weeks ago that the Orlando show is no longer happening. It is off the books. There was also supposed to be Fanatics Fest Los Angeles. It was teased at Fanatics Fest New York. It was supposed to be in March, then moved back to April. It's officially gone. Fanatics Fest Los Angeles is not going to happen, at least not this upcoming year. But Fanatics Fest New York City, the one event that Fanatics Events actually did last year, the big event in New York City, which was a major success to some extent, maybe not financially or maybe not by everybody's perspective, but there were elements of it that, in my opinion, were hugely successful that they are officially bringing back. And it will happen June 20th through 22nd. It will be back in the same exact spot in New York City. What is perhaps notable is they moved, last year was August, a few weeks after the National. This year they moved it up to June. It is 1 month before the National. So now you got Fanatics Fest happening, and then a month later you have the National happening. They have teased that Fanatics Fest this year will have even more celebrities. I think they said something like they're going to increase the number of celebrities there by close to double what they had last year. I thought they had a lot of celebrities last year. They're also apparently going to increase the number of card dealers and the amount of show floor space allocated to cards. So that's kind of interesting as well, what that maybe signals. I'm going to start with you, Doug, on this one first. Are you excited about Fanatics Fest being back? What do you think about these changes? And what do you think about it now being before the National?
Yeah, I'm really happy that it's back. I love that event. I'm excited to go again. It's probably as excited I could be for anything in this hobby. Like, that's my favorite thing that I've done probably in the past couple of years. I don't necessarily love the timing, though. I don't understand why it has to be so close to the National. I don't know if that's intentional, if they're trying to create competition there, but there's going to be companies. Like, not every company has infinite amount of money and can afford to go to every single event, and these are going to be two major events, the two biggest of the year, arguably, right next to each other. And there's going to have to be choices made by some companies. Some people, and it's pretty expensive from what I understand, to be a vendor at Fanatics Fest. That's a more expensive show than usual. So people are going to have to make choices on which show they attend. It could pull people away from the National that would normally be there, or it could lead to a lackluster show out at Fanatics Fest, which I'm sure they don't want to see. And the same goes for just individuals, right? Like, there's going to be a lot of people who can only attend one show this year, and they might have to make a choice because they're so close together. So that's something I don't really like. But they are very different types of shows. Like, Fanatics Fest is primarily just a sporting event. It's just something that's like for a sports fan, right? Even though they're growing the cards section, it's primarily just something for a sports fan. Whereas the National is straight cards. So they're maybe different enough that this won't have an impact either way, but I'd still like to see them just have enough room to breathe, separate a little bit.
Yeah. What's your thoughts, Teapot?
You should probably tell Doug he's not going this time.
Oh, I'm going.
I don't know, mixed reviews on that. Interesting take. I hadn't really thought of some of what Doug said. My gut was it's better before than after the National, because I think national fatigue is a real thing. There's also other shows that happen around the U.S. already after the National. Man, when we got done with the National and then you guys took off again, and then there was another show, and then we had Culture Collision in the fall, and we had Collecticon, and we had all this stuff.
Yeah, the Burbank show, the West Coast Card Show was a week after
it just
Fanatics Fest.
It felt like there was like 6 out of 7 weeks there was a big show somewhere, and I was like, whoa. So there is a little bit of that cannibalization happening. I'm not sure how much the proximity to each show hurts them or not. Maybe it does. Then again, I feel like a lot of the biggest dealers just seem to have budget to go be dealers in places, and they're going to show up and they're going to want to be there. I'd be curious to know how many of them had a successful, what they would deem a successful and cost-effective show at Fanatics Fest last year, because I know it was a lot more people who were like trying to figure things out. I also know that they needed to have, from what some people said, a better point of entry, like a little more cost effective on some, so that people who are there are like not getting sticker shock and actually getting potentially scared away from the hobby completely. Like, you got your kids, you travel in for this event, and you're like, hey, can we get some, I'll take that box, that one right there that's $45, and they're like, oh, that's just for a pack, you know, and they're like, what can I get out of it? Well, maybe nothing. So I think you got to like be careful with that if you're trying to introduce people into things. I do wonder if it would be more beneficial, because of the proximity of the National, for them to have it on the West Coast instead of in New York, because you have a lot of people who already on the West Coast may not be traveling to the National in Chicago because of distance. They're not going to go to New York. I know, guys who live out in California who are like, it's just too expensive and too much time and too much effort for me to fly from LA out to New York. They were super geeked to hear that there was going to be another one in California. Now there's not. The last thing I would say is I'm just surprised, honestly. I didn't expect this. I didn't know if we'd hear about any Fanatics events ever again after the recent news and shakeup and everything. And the rumors that they had lost somewhere between $10 and $20 million on the first one just really makes me go, whoa.
Just print some Topps Now cards.
That's true. Just Topps Now every week, and they could fund it easily. So adding more celebrities, more athletes, that seems like there's going to be a cost associated with that for them. More. Interesting. Really exciting. I'm very happy to hear it's coming back because of the rave reviews I've heard from a lot of people. Hopefully they get that VIP program buttoned up, which I'm sure they will. So good, happy, surprised, and maybe, I don't know, it's summer, so you're like able to travel with your kids more too.
That to me is actually the biggest deal of all of this. I am happy that it's moving up before the National. Last year, it was in August. My kids had already gone back to school. I couldn't take any of my kids to it because they had just started up school. All the schools in Georgia had started up. And so it was an inconvenient weekend to try to take them because school had just started and they're getting back in the flow of things. This year, with it being in June, much better opportunity for me to take them. So I'm excited about it moving up for that reason. And I do actually like it being positioned before the National better. I feel like it's going to be a little bit of a warm-up to the National.
That's what I feel like.
Yeah, as you said, Doug, it's a totally different event. It's appealing to a little bit of a different audience, but it's a lighter event. Like it's more of a just go enjoy yourself and not be quite as focused as the National requires you to be. Just because of the volume of cards and things happening. So I kind of like this. We'll see some cards, we'll have some fun, all that stuff, and then the next month we'll be at the National and get real serious about cards. Yep. I think it's a good 1-2 punch. Yep. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad they're doing it again. I hope it's really successful this year, and I hope it turns into an annual thing. And I agree, an LA one would be nice. Maybe that comes back. Or Vegas.
I mean, that's not a bad
Vegas
choice.
one, actually.
That'd be a good idea.
Vegas one would be great.
I won't be happy until we get another Vegas show.
Vegas one would be great.
Yep.
That is what we need. We need Fanatics Fest Las Vegas. If you're listening out there, Michael Rubin, Fanatics Fest Las Vegas 2026.
And no more peanut parallels.
We'll be there. We'll be there. Keep the peanut parallels coming if it helps you pay for Fanatics Fest 2026 in Vegas.
Fair enough.
We appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget about the virtual, and don't forget about Arena Club Slab Pack Drop tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Promo code SEI20 for 20% off. Download the Arena Club app. We appreciate you. We'll see you then. Take care.